They arrived small, fragmentary, unnoticed. For months, they drifted in the air and lodged themselves in the crevices of broken infrastructure, between concrete and rust in exhausted soils, inside old train stations and alongside poisoned rivers. Some called them spores. Others thought they were debris. Only when they began to grow, spreading slowly across sites of ecological trauma, did we truly begin to see them. They were not machines in the way we knew them. They were not alive in any way we understood. Their forms were made from unfamiliar matter, semi-translucent, fibrous, laced with mineral-like flexures that defied classification. Somewhere between organic and inorganic, their material did not match any known compound. They shimmered slightly, even in the shade, like skin that remembered heat, and they grew, quietly, recursively. Across South Africa, and later the world, they began their work. Suspended above scarred landscapes, broken urban environments, dried-up lakes, these tangled networks drew the world's damage into themselves. Heavy metals, microplastics, pollution, damaged soil. They didn't speak, but they responded. Each one different, each one learning, they metabolized what we couldn't repair. Not to erase it, but to become it. Gently, completely. In Nelson Mandela Bay, the tangles began cleaning the coastline. Others began consuming air pollution and enriching the soils, or cleaning brown fields in their ruins. In each place, they initiated repair. But it was not the kind of repair we expected. This was about more than sustainability. This was about healing. The place? South Africa, near the remnants of a Sunday's river thicket. They had once called this area around the power plant a biome, but the word no longer fit. The soil was saline, the roots brittle, the insect rhythms fractured. After the tangles arrived, repair had begun. Slowly, a shimmer in the microbial count, a softening of the air, the beginnings of return. Then, one of the central tangles darkened. It began to shrink. Its outer layers curled inward. Filaments once flexible became brittle. Ria, an artist embedded with the local restoration crew, noticed first. She had drawn the tangle daily, its posture, its hue. Initially, she felt the difference not as identifiable, scientific data, but as absence, the way a therapist would notice change. One morning, she walked alone to its perimeter. She knelt, touched it. Its surface was cold. An oily discharge, which we could not identify, began to form a ring at its base. Our limited sensors picked up nothing abnormal, but the tangle was failing. It was not processing, it was not metabolizing, it was in pain. It was dying. Nearby tangles began vibrating softly. Low hums, glimmers of orange and blue. Some extended fine threads toward the fallen one, but they stopped short. They were waiting. Ria stayed. She closed her eyes, slowed her breathing. The vibration grew stronger, not louder, but deeper. Resonant. A transfer began. Threads moved across the dust, reached the dying form, and fused. The sick tangle pulsed. Its inner matrix flexed erratically, then softened. Bioluminescent patches emerged. The hum increased. The network around it adjusted. Rhythm, shape, glow. They were sharing energy. Ria felt it move through her as well, an ache that was not hers. The grief of drought, the trauma of the ecosystem embodied in these tangles. The next morning, the tangle exhaled a faint mist. Its upper strands relaxed. Ria called the others. The team documented what appeared to be a full restoration. It had survived. Once again, as a species, we found ourselves in an all too familiar place, not thinking we had to truly care for the things that nurtured us, taking them for granted, and only realizing when things were almost too late what we needed to do. It was the same lack of listening and nurturing that got us in our ecological trouble in the first place. We opened them up in our very human need to know and control. We dissected cross-sections, sequenced residues, mapped inner cavities with high-resolution volumetrics. But we still do not understand them. Their internal arrangements shift. Filamentous spirals rotate slowly across days, creating nested chambers that appear and dissolve. The substance that binds their inner core has neither fixed chemical index nor stable reaction to temperature. Some believe they carry embedded biofilm matrices that act as sensory memory. While speculative, some think they maintain self-organized coherence through oscillation, low-frequency pulsing that generates form without rigid structure. Others argue they operate on a principle closer to autopoiesis, rebuilding themselves constantly from what they process. Another theory suggests that the tangles developed intelligence not through algorithms, but through exposure, layering cognition by metabolizing complexity. Theories aside, we know this much. Their structures adapt based on their environment. Soil toxins leave pigment traces. Thermal extremes alter the density of their interior spirals. High noise levels reduce outer porosity. They remember not by storing data, but by changing shape and form in relation to the poison and toxins they consume and neutralize. And this memory, morphological, like a neural net or emergent pattern that reestablishes its structure after disruption, is the basis of how they heal. Our knowledge of the internal workings of the tangles, ignorant as it is, allowed us to begin engaging them architecturally, as they also began to reimagine human space. The tangles invited us to live within them and to use their material being as architectural structure and supplies. Their filaments, once removed, retained responsive properties. Structures built from these living threads could adjust insulation, absorb CO2, modulate humidity, reduce noise pollution. They were extensions of the tangle logic. This invitation and its possibilities were met with incredible excitement. From physicists and artists to architects and sociologists to urban planners and environmental scientists, experts began experimenting with tangles in different spaces and places. We had a lot to learn, but we were making progress. Still, while the tangles had taught us much, there was a limit to what they could heal. The gift only extended so far. The tangles reshaped how space was imagined and used, merging architecture with ecology, inviting communal care and adaptive design. Their presence softened the edges of extractive systems, altering environmental degradation, reducing pollution, healing the soil, inspiring regenerative urbanism, and offering new solidarities around improving health and place. But the deeper engines of collapse, poverty, inequality, fossil fuels, and the carbon-intensive logistics of global supply chains and the psychology of consumption remained largely resilient. The tangles had given us a new logic, a new philosophical language, but we had yet to think, feel, and speak it. We had yet to become truly entangled.